everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Spell It Out Wednesday. I'm super excited to be here to talk about cast iron today. Got this cute little mini cast iron. I have a 10-inch cast iron and I have a 12-inch cast iron, which I'll show you guys on the stovetop over here in just a minute. If you guys caught kind of one about 25 minutes ago that I did, this cast iron one, it's because I had some crazy technical glitches and I'm here to do it all over again. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Kristen. I am a director with Pampered Chef, and I am a family health coach with Mealtime Memories. And I just love being in the kitchen, talking about food, talking about ways to prepare food, and helping families get back to mealtime, to be quite honest. So today we're going to talk about cast iron. We've talked about pressure cooking, we've talked about air frying, we've talked about awesome summer tools. Now we're going to talk about cast iron. And the biggest reason we're going to talk about cast iron today of all times is because it is such a versatile piece of cookware. It's great for the oven, the stovetop, the grill, over campfires. And so hopefully you guys are going to be grilling and camping coming up here this summer. And I want to show you a great tool that you can use to help feed your families, okay? Now, cast iron is relatively new to me. It's not something that I grew up using, and actually I tried out cast iron a few years back. I tried a couple recipes in it because Pioneer Woman was doing it on her show, so I thought I'd try it, and I never just got into it. It sat on top of my refrigerator for years until Pampered Chef came out with cast iron. And then I was a little bit like forced to learn it for my customers, and I found out how cool it is and how to really use it the correct way. The biggest setback with cast iron is it does take a little extra special care, but that's what makes it so special. A lot of times cast iron is passed on from family to down family lines and generations, and it's very cherished. It has years of seasoning ingrained on it. It's going to invoke memories when you're using it, and you're going to have these special family recipes that you use in it. A lot of families make their fried chicken in it, or their cornbread recipe in it, or fried donuts in it, and there's just a lot of really great recipes that are specific to their cast iron. Nowadays, cast iron typically comes seasoned from the manufacturer, so it's not something that you need to season over time. Normally they become seasoned, and they're like a nice, shiny, smooth black finish on them. If they're a gray finish, then they're unseasoned, and they need to be seasoned by the user. However, I'll get to that in a second to tell you how to do it if you do have an unseasoned piece, or a piece that hasn't been treated in a long time, or cooked with in a long time. You might want to consider building up some of that seasoning coating on there. Now, when you use cast iron, you are going to wash it a very certain way, okay? And if you guys are familiar with Pampered Chef stoneware, it is kind of similar to that, but this is even a little bit more time intensive, and I'll get to a mistake that I made when I first started using cast iron. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to rinse under hot water. Regardless of what you cook in here, it's going to get rinsed under hot water. And you're going to use either a nylon or natural brush with firm brushes on there to gently scrub off any food items. You want to avoid using like SOS pads or Brillo pads or steel wool. You don't want to do that because it's too abrasive for the cast iron and it'll start peeling off that coating. So what you do want to use is just a wet, firm, bristled brush to wash your cast iron. Now, if you do have some more stuck on foods, there's just a couple easy ways to get rid of that. You can occasionally use just a couple drops of dish soap to get any like really sticky, messy foods off of there. However, you're going to want to make sure you treat it right after you do it to build up that seasoning again. You also can use a salt and oil kind of abrasive or a paste over a stovetop to get some of those like, you know, corner foods out of the corners of your cast iron as well, which I'll give you the recipe or the method to do that shortly as well. After you wash it, after you use the water and the brush, what you're going to do is you're going to actually put it back on the stovetop over a flame to finish drying it out. Or you can put it in the oven for 10 minutes as well. So if you don't want to worry about having an open flame, you can put it in the oven for 10 minutes to finish drying it out. Putting it in the oven also eliminates some of the odor. So if you cook something that's particularly stinky, like fish or, you know, onions and peppers tend to hold a smell for a long time too, then go ahead and put it in the oven to let it finish drying out and cooking off the rest of those smells, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to want to take just like a tablespoon, half tablespoon of olive oil or vegetable oil, something plant-based. Avoid using any kind of animal-based fats in here because it'll spoil. So you don't want that sitting on your cast iron when it's up in the cabinet, especially if it's not something you use often. And what you're gonna do, let me just grab my tongs here. You're gonna put a little bit of oil in your pan. You're gonna take a paper towel or a clean kitchen towel. I like using the paper towels just because they're disposable and I don't have to worry about washing oily rags. And you're just gonna put, like I said, like a half a tablespoon in the bottom, and then you're just gonna wipe the inside of it with that oil until you can't see, like there's no more oil and it's back to a shiny, smooth black finish. And that will leave it seasoned while it's sitting in your cabinet. So it'll kind of seals it almost, okay? Do this, of course, after the pan cools. So this is going to be after you take it off the heat or out of the oven. You're going to finish it with the oil, let it finish cooling, and then put it in the cabinet. So, like I said, it does take a little bit more care and to put it away. My biggest thing was I washed it and I didn't do that drying out and oiling process. I let it air dry. And I ended up with rust spots, okay? So I had rust spots. I turned it over and I was like, oh my goodness. I just have rust all over my pan. So I looked into how to fix it. And you don't just wash off the rust because the problem is that you let the water sat on there. And it is iron. It is a cast iron. So it did rust on me. But rusting is fixable. So if you do have rust spots, if you don't have a seasoned pan, if it's like grayish, or if you have stuck on food, there is a really cool method to get rid of that. So I'm going to turn you around and go to our stovetop over here. Okay, and I have my 12-inch skillet sitting here. This one actually was the one with the rust spots on it, and I did treat it a little bit before I came on video, and it turned out that it actually treated it like all the way. So I don't have much to show you, but that's okay. But I promise you there were rust spots in here because I about freaked out, and I was like, how am I supposed to teach my customers how to do this if I get rust spots in my own cast iron? So what you're going to do is to get rid of rust spots or stuck on food. I'm going to talk to you real quick about that like salt paste that I was telling you earlier. What you're going to do is you're going to same tongue paper towel method. This time though, you're going to use about a 1/4 cup of oil in the larger cast iron, whatever size it is. I mean, the 1/4 cup's going to go in the larger 12-inch size. And then you're going to use a few tablespoons of coarse kosher salt, okay? So you're going to warm that oil up in there. You're going to put your salt in there, and then you're going to get in there with a lot of paper towels. I love using these tongs because they lock, so I don't have to worry about them like coming locked. And you're just going to really rub that oil in there with the salt, and the salt's going to be the abrasive, get that rust off of there, and then your oil is going to re-season those spots where it got rusty. Super duper easy. You're going to do the same thing if you have stuck on food with the salt paste. And if you have an unseasoned gray pan, oh, thanks, Liza. I just saw your comment. Love the kitchen. Me too. The gray pan, what you're going to do is a little bit less oil, and you're going to warm it up slightly, and then you're going to coat the whole pan inside and out with the oil. And then if it's still not seasoned enough because you want, like I said, that shiny black smooth finish on there, then you're just going to keep repeating the process until you have a shiny black finish and smooth finish. You don't want any rough spots on here as well. That means it's stuck on food, so you don't want any rough spots on there to get that nice clean cast iron again. So that's how you'll do it to actually season it completely before you actually store it and put it away, okay? The more you use your pan, the more seasoned it'll be. So if you won't have to worry about those rust spots as long as you don't soak it or air dry it and that you actually wipe it clean. And the more you use it, the better seasoning you'll have on your pan, which seasoning is good because that's what makes it nonstick. So these are become naturally nonstick pans without any trouble, okay? So I do have a couple of really cool tips for you guys before I let you go for today. There's a couple unexpected uses for cast iron. Of course, like I said, there are some people that use it for like their fried chicken, their fried donuts, cornbread, searing meats, things like that. But there's a couple other really cool uses you can do for it too. One of my favorite that I researched is actually using it as a panini press. So you have your 12-inch cast iron, and then you have a 10-inch cast iron. You put your panini in there, and then you put the second one right on top of it, and you have yourself a panini with cast iron, okay? Now, cast iron does have a really good heat retention so that it stays hot for a long time. So if you are going to leave food in here, just beware because it will continue to cook because the pan stays hot. There are hot spots in cast iron though. It's not very even heating retention unless you put it in this oven. Over a flame or on an electric stovetop, it does have a little bit more uneven, so it's something that you need to watch while you cook with cast iron as well. The other thing that I love using it for is like a rustic pie. So you could cook your pie filling right in your cast iron, pour it into a bowl, wipe it out, and then you put your pie dough in there. You fill it with your pie filling, top it, put it in the oven. Like, wouldn't that be so pretty to bring to a picnic this summer? I would love doing that. I'm really considering doing that totally from scratch this summer and sharing it with my awesome friends, okay, or your family. And then the other thing that was really cool too, and you guys might have seen an infomercial for this, but it's totally true. It has been tested and proven by America's Test Kitchen, which is like my cooking Bible. Metal is a really good, is a better heat conductor than just like air or anything else. So if you have some frozen meat that you need to thaw quickly, as long as it's about less than 1 inch thick, so these are like nice little like chicken fillets or pork chop fillets or something like that, you can put it in your cast iron, like on your countertop, like not over a flame or anything like that. Put it in your cast iron on your countertop, and in an hour at room temperature, it'll be thawed. Like I said, because metal is a just better heat conductor than just the typical air or plastic that you might have your meat wrapped in or set in like a Ziploc bag, and it'll thaw for you right in a cast iron. How cool is that? All right, so that's what I got for you guys today. I will post some recipes that go along with some of the cast iron, maybe like a Dutch baby or cornbread or that like a pork chop one that sears the meat really well. And I cannot wait. I didn't even get a chance yet. I've used the other two, but I haven't used these little guys yet. But a lot of fellow consultants have been using them for like frittatas, chocolate chip cookies, cobblers, and little crisps. So I love these little guys, and these guys are air fryer safe. So you can make little individual portions, little individual deep dish pizzas. I mean, the possibilities are endless with cast iron, especially because they go so many different places. The biggest thing is just the use and care of them and taking care of them after you use them to cook your food. So one more thing that I wanted to leave you with that I forgot because I didn't write it down and it just popped in my head. A lot of people are afraid to do acidic food in cast iron because they feel like the iron taste leaches into the acidic food, like tomato sauce or something like that. And that is true. It affects taste after about 30 minutes of simmering. So if that is something that you want to try to avoid, then I would avoid doing any kind of like simmering of sauces in cast iron for more than 30 minutes. It won't poison you. The amount of iron that's actually released into your food is definitely more of a taste thing than a like chemical thing for your body. So, but it does happen. Sometimes other people are concerned about cooking on an electric stovetop over a gas stovetop, like electric gas stovetops don't work for cast iron. That's not true. I've tested them both upstairs and downstairs. The electric seems to just take a little bit longer just because of the heat conduction of it and the fact that cast iron seems to get hot spots. And over electric, it just takes a little bit longer. So that's what I got for you guys. To be completely honest and tell you, I haven't picked a topic for next week yet, but if you guys have any topics that you want me to talk about, please throw them out to me. I'd love to hear the feedback, to hear what you want me to keep doing on Spell It Out Wednesday. Thanks so much for catching this episode of Spell It Out Wednesday with me, all about cast iron use and care. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your week and are enjoying this first unofficial week of summer. All right, guys, see you later.